Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. General Hospital spoilers. Heather becomes Whodunit victim release. Brings grave danger and long suspect list. General Hospital, GH, spoilers reveal that Heather Weber, Allie Mills, is obsessed with the idea of getting out of Pentonville and finally being able to bond with Ace Cassadine, Jay, and Joey Clay. With Rick Lansing, Rick Hurst in her corner, Heather just might get her wish soon enough. Portia Robinson, Brooke Care, tried to block Heather's release by altering her test results, but that plan didn't work out as well as she hoped. Now Portia is just trying to cover up her shady move and protect career with Ava Jerome's Maura West help. Rick still seems poised to get Heather's conviction overturned and eventually get her out of prison. However, what Heather really needs to worry about is what might happen if she becomes a free woman. After all, Heather is quite the pariah in Port Charles. Considering the destruction Heather has caused and all the people who might like revenge, she's the prime candidate for a whodunit story. It's easy to imagine Heather landing in grave danger and becoming a victim. If newly freed Heather gets injured or even faces a fatal outcome, there will be no shortage of suspects. Portia might take matters into her own hands to make sure Heather never hurts Trina Robinson, Tabiana Ali, or anyone else ever again. Ava might be another option, both for Trina's sake and for revenge since Heather hooked her once upon a time. Brad Cooper, Perry Shen, might be a suspect because of his connection to Britt Westbourne, Kelly Thiebaud, and the same goes for Liesl Obrecht, Kathleen Getty. Of course, we can't forget about Sasha Gilmore Corbin, Sophia Matson, who's proven she can be driven over the edge. Sasha must still want Heather to pay for what happened to Brando Corbin, Johnny Wachter, so the cops might suspect her too. Even Esme Prince, Avery Pohl, could land on the suspect list if she resurfaces down the road and turns against Heather. There could be other vengeful characters who get accused as well, so it makes sense for Heather to land at the center of a big mystery once she's free. Do you think Heather's release will bring a dangerous situation? Will Heather end up fighting for her life at GH or even face a grim fate? Our predictions hint that Heather may wish she was back at Pentonville by the end of all this, so stick with us for updates on her freedom and the terrible news that might result. In an explosive new twist for General Hospital, Heather Weber's return to Port Charles has taken a shocking turn, setting the stage for one of the most thrilling whodunit stories the show has ever seen. Long known for her chaotic ways and twisted manipulations, Heather Weber has always been a dangerous force, but her latest storyline has led to her becoming the victim in a deadly attack, leaving Port Charles shaken to its core. As the town reels from Heather's apparent demise, questions about who would dare take her life swirl in every corner of the city. Her release from Dartram Asylum was already controversial, but no one could have anticipated the deadly consequences that followed her sudden freedom. Was this karmic justice for Heather's long list of crimes, or is there more than meets the eye? The web of enemies. Heather's history is so littered with deception, danger, and deadly secrets that the list of potential suspects is practically endless. From her long-standing feud with Sam McCall to her troubled relationship with her son, Franco Baldwin, and even her infamous vendetta against Laura Collins, Heather's web of enemies is vast. Even former allies might have had enough of her dangerous games. The timing of her release was suspicious, especially since many in Port Charles believed Heather's freedom would bring chaos back to the streets. And they weren't wrong. In the short time since her return, she managed to stir up trouble, reignite old grudges, and leave more than a few people fearing what she might do next. Heather's penchant for psychological manipulation and her ability to push people to their limits meant that anyone in her orbit could be pushed to the brink of taking matters into their own hands. But who would be bold enough to strike? The suspects. Who could have done it? One of the prime suspects in this twisted case is none other than Elizabeth Weaver. Though Liz is far from a murderer, Heather's relentless torment of her and her family has been a constant source of tension. The weight of Heather's manipulations, paired with her mother's unstable influence, may have driven Liz to act out of desperation. But did she snap under pressure, or is someone trying to frame her? Then there's Esme Prince, Heather's supposed granddaughter. While the relationship between them had only begun to unfold, it was clear from the start that Heather's hold over Esme was suffocating. After months of emotional manipulation and control, Esme could have lashed out in a desperate attempt to break free from her grandmother's poisonous grip. However, considering Esme's cunning nature, it wouldn't be surprising if she had a more complex role in the mystery. Ryan Chamberlain, the notorious serial killer and Heather's twisted love interest, is another strong suspect. Though Ryan is presumed dead, there are whispers that he could still be alive and lurking in the shadows. Ryan's twisted obsession with Heather and their gruesome partnership was toxic to its core, and if Heather had tried to double-cross him or outmaneuver him in any way, there's no doubt that Ryan would have the motive to end her life. Sam McCall is also a major player in this game of suspicion. Heather has tormented Sam for years, and her connection to Franco and Jason's past has always left a dark cloud over their interactions. With Heather's release, Sam may have felt that the only way to protect her family from further chaos was to eliminate the threat once and for all. The fallout. Danger lurks around every corner. With so many suspects and motives swirling around, the investigation into Heather's death is bound to uncover some shocking revelations. The PCPD is working tirelessly to piece together the events leading up to the attack, but the deeper they dig, the more tangled the web becomes. Every clue points in a different direction, and the lack of concrete evidence is frustrating for both law enforcement and the residents of Port Charles. But Heather's death doesn't just bring mystery, it brings danger. Whoever orchestrated the attack is still on the loose, and they're willing to do whatever it takes to keep their identity hidden. For those closest to Heather, the danger is especially real. Esme finds herself caught in the crosshairs of a sinister plot she doesn't fully understand. As the investigation heats up, she begins receiving cryptic threats warning her to keep quiet or suffer a fate worse than her grandmother's. Could Esme be the next victim of this twisted game? Elizabeth is also feeling the weight of the investigation pressing down on her. As she tries to focus on her family and move past her mother's poisonous legacy, she begins to question if she's being watched. Odd things start happening around her. Strange messages, missing items, and unsettling encounters that leave her questioning who she can trust. Is someone trying to frame her for Heather's murder, or is this a case of paranoia taking hold? Meanwhile, Laura Collins grows increasingly suspicious of those around her. With her history with Heather, Laura knows all too well the danger that lingers in the shadows. As the mayor of Port Charles, she's determined to see justice served. But her instincts tell her that this murder is more complex than it appears on the surface. Every new development in the case sends ripples of doubt through her mind, making her question who's really pulling the strings behind the scenes. The shadowy figure. Is Ryan Chamberlain still alive? Adding an even more chilling layer to the mystery is the question of Ryan Chamberlain's true fate. Though presumed dead, there have been whispers of sightings and clues that suggest he might still be alive, hiding in the shadows and orchestrating a grander plan. If Ryan is indeed behind Heather's death, it raises the stakes of this mystery to an entirely new level. As the town of Port Charles grapples with the fallout of Heather's murder, one thing becomes clear: no one is safe. This Whodunit storyline promises to take viewers on a roller coaster ride of twists, turns, and shocking reveals. The real question remains, will the truth come out before the killer strikes again? The clock is ticking, and the residents of Port Charles are about to discover just how dangerous it is to be caught in Heather Weber's deadly web, even in death.